Welcome back to the greatest podcast of all time, the Cinestro Course. Your boy Blacksby, and today we're talking about a multitude of awesome things. If you read the title and you got this far, you already know what we're talking about. Don't ask no questions, just tune in.
Cinestro for the cast, it's your weekly gold mine. Stay tuned in, stay tuned in. They got the beats, got those comic spins. I stay tuned in, stay tuned.
You're a bone in a rocky road to Dublin. Man, turn me up, bro. Matter of fact, let's just get right into it. You already know what we're talking about. We're talking about Big Sin. Why does my name still say Charles Melton and Joy? What's going on?
All of them.
Despite
So
my
Repeat yourself. We didn't catch any of that.
Repeat yourself.
nobody caught it.
He said we're
Oh,
talking about
Jesus.
Big Sin.
Oh, Jesus. My Wi-Fi is stuck in 1932 along with Smoke and Stack. Anyways, we are talking about Sinners, arguably top 5 movie of the year, even though we're already in April. I have nothing bad to say about this film. Actually, I do have one bad thing.
I do.
Why wasn't that a lot longer? I wanted to see more. I would have been enjoying that. But
That's not my bad thing.
let's get right into it. Who wants to start? AZ, actually, you say you have some thoughts. What you got? You just watched the movie like 5 minutes ago.
I just got back about 10 minutes ago. Also, I had a hat on, so if any of you in the audience wondering why my hair looks like this, shut up. So anyway, I just saw this movie roughly about 20 minutes ago. It let out, and I got home and I'm kind of digesting it. And it is really good. Horror is my favorite genre, so I'm really scrupulous about like any little bits of horror. And when it comes to things like vampires or zombies or ghouls or monsters or whatever, you have to establish some kind of rules. And I do like how they went with a little bit of the traditional vampire formula, but they also kind of mixed in some sort of like Afro-Caribbean elements to it with the hoodoo and the voodoo and everything. I really enjoyed. And overall, acting is incredible. I was immersed the whole time. And I gotta say, we have come a long way since Tom Hardy playing duplicates of himself with the special effects of 2 niggas being the same dude on the screen.
The best movie to ever do that is The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan.
The Parent Trap had me thinking that for years.
I think she has a twin. I don't care what anybody
It still
says.
holds up. Yeah, that movie's like 80 years old.
I think
still works.
this has to be a close second because
Fuck
goddamn,
me, that means I'm 82.
I just cannot fathom how well they did. Like, I don't know if they use like body doubles or if it's all like just they green screen integrated. Like the elements of how they did this, I need to see some behind the scenes because I genuinely now think there's a second Michael B. Jordan out there somewhere.
No, it was Michael B. Jordan and Michael C. Jordan, bro. They had 2 of them.
Michael A. didn't make it.
Michael A. is the beta. Never mind.
But overall, I thought it was pretty good. I have a lot more positives than negatives, but I'll get into those later. But also, I realized this is a very horny movie. This is a very horny movie. Like I get it, vampires.
A lot hornier than advertised. Yeah,
a lot hornier than advertised.
Ryan Coogler, I know what you are, brother.
Ryan Coogler,
and I understand,
freak, bro.
Ryan Coogler, I understand.
I was sitting in like the very back of my theater, like in the top back, because I like to take notes on my phone just so I like have something to say during the pod. And I don't want to disturb anybody, but I'm sitting there in the back, and the theater's like not packed, but it's like midly, kind of full. And the point where Haley Steinfeld's character is converted into a vampire. And she's like, so you gonna rob a train and you gonna rob people, but you're not gonna come take this pussy. This old black lady, like 3 rows in front of me, just goes, "Ooh, child." I just laughed. That's another thing. This movie is it's pretty funny. It's not like undercut. With a little bit of the joke.
The one that did it for me was when she at the beginning of the train station. He said something, and then she said, "But you stuck your tongue in my coos and fucked me so hard. I thought you might change your mind." I said, "Oh my god, this is Haley Steinfeld. This is Josh Allen's fiance."
Should be more in shambles right now, seeing Haley Steinfeld around every other black man besides him.
And then she said that shit talking about you can rob trains, you can rob banks and trains, but you can't take his pussy for one night. I said, oh.
Don't spill.
I just looked at my girl. I said, what are we watching right now? She's like 1/32 black, bro.
She's like logic black.
I can't.
She's like
I never passed
black,
math.
bro.
I don't know how many. I don't know fractions, bro. I don't know mathematics like that.
The one thing I was gonna say about this movie, like right off the bat, is that it did make like going to like the whole movie theater experience as a whole like a very like enjoyable thing, because being able to watch something like this with a large group of people, like the laughs really worked. Those really like shocking moments that y'all were talking about really worked. Like the action worked, the horror elements worked, you know, and being in a room full of people, 100, 150, I watched it in IMAX, you know, however many people fit in those. It was like packed to the brim. Feeling like the energy, feeling the energy of everybody in the room when those moments are happening and going on. That's kind of like why you're like, damn, cinema. This is why we do this shit, right? This is why we come here, because of like that communal experience. And so, you know, just props to Ryan Coogler for making not only an original movie, you know, written by a black man with mostly black cast, but like making something that's like at such a grand scale. You know, like a big summer blockbuster that's original, that's wholly his, and not only that, but that he pulled it off. You know, a movie that is very well made, very well executed, and it's just, I think it's such a huge feat, just from a filmmaking perspective.
Oh,
agreed.
Wait,
and you know,
Matt,
what up?
I was got a question for people who are interested in seeing this movie. Would you mind telling the people of the population what the story is, just real quick, like a real quick summation of it? Because pretty much, I think people just mostly know this is black 1920s vampire movie, and niggas probably genuinely, somebody I was talking to thought this was Blade, but set in the 20s. I'm not even joking, and that's why I was laughing earlier when you pitched your Blade idea.
I'm glad you asked that, AZ. Let me elaborate. So, picture it. 1932, Mississippi, Clarksdale to be exact. We're out here. We are introduced to a young man named Preacher Boy. I'm only gonna give the bare bones. I'm not gonna spoil it because I know people haven't seen it yet. If you have not seen it by the time this episode comes out, I'll let it slide.
Wait, also we're gonna be spoiling it by discussing it though.
Actually, you know what? Yeah, you had enough time.
You.
Spoilers. if you haven't seen Sinners by now, you better repent. You sinning bad, bro. So, anyways, introduce the boy, Preacher Boy, Sammy Moore, played by none other than newcomer Miles Caton. I hope I'm not butchering his last name. Miles Caton, one of the most talented young men in Hollywood right now. This dude, I'm sorry, I'm gonna sidestep the storyline real quick. This dude can fucking sing, dude. Excuse my language. He can fucking sing. Like, I've seen clips of him singing in the Potter's House Church. I've seen him singing on different videos. He's playing with Ludwig Göransson. That's why Graham's not here. He's practicing with Miles right now. Just incredible talent. This dude learns blues guitar in 2 months for this film.
2 months.
And the whole story about how he landed this role. He was on tour with her, talented recording artist. Her, she's phenomenal. And she's like, "Hey, there's this movie coming up. There's a role that just needs somebody who can sing and play guitar. Go ahead and go for it." And she was like, "All right, cool." He auditioned. Obviously, he got the role, and now the rest is history. He's showcased a level of talent from a newcomer that I was like, bro, I'm blown away. So, props to you, bro. 5 stars. I'm glazing. I'm here for it. Anyways, back to the story. Miles is the son of a preacher, obviously, hence the name Preacher Boy. And he's two cousins of his who come into town from Chicago. They are known as the Smokestack Twins, played by Michael B. Jordan and Michael C. Jordan. And their World War. Let's see, do my math.
Such a stupid joke.
It would be two.
World War One vets. No, it's World War One. 2 hasn't started yet.
World War One vets. Yeah.
World War One. 2 starts in like a year.
Yeah. Like
oh my god.
Year.
In this timeline, it literally starts like next year or the year after.
No, not this timeline. The real life timeline that we're currently living in.
That's what I mean.
Cineverse.
Yeah. The Cineverse. We're in the Cineverse.
Yeah, the Cineverse.
More on that later.
They're gonna tie it into the MCU.
I hope to God not.
Blade gonna show
Blade's
up.
origin.
Remick.
Don't make every black man fight vampires except for Mahershala Ali. I swear to God.
They literally one movie.
But not his cousins Smoke and Stack come in from Chicago. They spent time up there with Al Capone, running gang shit, and typical gangster shit. They robbed some people, they got some money, and they came back. They want to do their own thing. They want to start their own juke joint. A juke joint, for those of you who are unaware, it's a place where black people can celebrate and have a good time and listen to music free of any racial bias, racial discrimination. It's a place for us, by us. If you don't know what a juke joint is, now you know. This is black.
So essentially, they come back.
Name.
They're trying to establish roots at this place. They're visited on the grand opening of their juke joint. They're visited by this mysterious stranger played by Jack O'Connell, and all hell breaks loose. Essentially,
pun intended.
Story. Yeah,
turns out there's vampires afoot, and it does not go well for a lot of people.
So
and that's it.
Without getting deep into that part, I mean, there's so much more in between it. There's so many levels to this film that this is gonna sound really. I don't know. If you're not black or a person of color, you won't. There's some things you will miss in this movie. There's some things you will miss, not because you're not paying attention. Just some things that you don't understand. You don't know from lived experiences that we've gone through.
Because there was these two white guys walking out of the theater when I was waiting on my Uber that were talking about like some of the music, and they're like, music was a little bit much, wasn't it? Wasn't it a little bit much? And I'm like, this wasn't for you. Go home, Brad and Chad, dude.
A white man composed the music, so
yeah. Ludwig, the blackest white man next to Graham.
They are the same person. He is Graham.
True.
That's what Graham be doing when he's not here. He's busy writing Oscar-winning soundtracks.
Can I talk? I know this is going to be mostly a positive conversation. Can I just talk about the one thing that I think did not work in the movie and that really took me out, just right off the rip, just to kind of
go ahead.
I agree.
Go back to
let's list off our negatives.
Okay.
Let's list off our negatives.
Because there's much fewer.
The positives will outweigh the negatives for sure. So go ahead.
I think I've seen a lot of discourse on the internet talking about that scene, about how that scene is one of the greatest scenes in modern cinema and one of the greatest scenes of the last 10 years. I disagree. There's a scene in the movie where Miles Catton's character Preacher Boy starts singing for the first time, and it's this song that kind of brings Remick to him, and it's kind of like it's like they had mentioned how there's certain people in the world whose talent and whose voice crosses and bridges generations, and it's like, and so there's a scene where they're basically dancing and he's singing and you see like people from the past, like people from African tribes playing music, and basically it's meant to signify like how music ties cultures together, and particularly in this situation like Black Americans, right? And about how music is a through line through their history, and it goes back from like there's African tribes people playing music, and then he jumps, and then there's people twerking, and then there's like rappers, and then there's like modern day contemporary music, and like people on like an electric guitar and stuff, and crib walking and stuff, and it's like I get. And maybe it's because because it's not for me, so therefore it doesn't work, and I'm very conscious of that fact. But it was incredibly jarring, and it took me out of the movie. I'm not saying the movie's not realistic. Let's not say that it's about fucking vampires, right? So I understand that's not necessarily grounded or realistic, but that sequence just seemed so out of place for me.
At least doesn't know what magical realism is.
Yeah. I hate magical realism, but it seems so out of place, and it's so jarring, and it kind of took me out, and I was like, oh, and it just wasn't explained really, and it just kind of happened, and I can appreciate, like I said, what Ryan Coogler is trying to say, and I appreciate the filmmaking aspect of it, but I was just kind of like, I was like, this is long. I was like, and this is like really long, and I'm kind of uncomfortable because I don't get this, and it's just really kind of like awkward, and then it ended, and I was like, all right, we're back. But that's just kind of like my main gripe with the movie, is that scene didn't work for me. And again, please tell me if I'm wrong, or if I'm overstepping.
You are wrong. You hate black people, and you should be ashamed
born
of
on Juneteenth. A member of the
counterpoint.
I think the
Counterpoint.
scene was really cool.
Yeah.
I think it was well done. I think it's a testament to blocking in general. It's
Mhm.
obviously not
Oh,
a
yeah.
one take, but it looks like one. It's pretty fucking seamless.
Yeah.
It's great. I think the score really kicks in there. I get what you're saying when you
Mhm.
say it kind of takes you out. It is unexpected, but it's
Mhm.
not unexplained. The very first scene, aside from that dog shit fucking flash forward, I hate that in movies.
Nah, me too.
But the very like really early in the movie, it's explained that's what they can do. That is the basis
Yeah.
of the movie. And I knowing that, I was like, oh, it's probably gonna happen.
It's not
And
the
it did.
basis
Yeah.
of the.
And it was
It's not the
cool.
basis of
Well,
the
not the
movie
basis
because it
of the
never
movie,
happens
but-
again.
But it's why.
But it's an element
Remick
within the
happened.
world of the film that's further expanded on from that opening monologue, in a sense of that
Remick
music.
explains it. He says, "You
Yeah.
called me."
But it would have worked
Annie-
better if he would have just been like, "You called me, your voice, and your talent." And then when he says it later in the movie, your stories, your talent, I want that, whatever. You know, like if he says, "You called me,"
Yeah.
and then he says that part at the end, I get it. I'm just like,
I
got
think-
it.
It makes sense
talent-
because
So-
you see his ancestors, and it makes
Yeah.
sense. You say, "Oh, Remick wants to see his ancestors." It makes sense.
because the thing is, normally
He
Okay.
literally
people can't
states
really
that. He says,
because,
"I want to
yeah,
see my people."
like
again.
Annie at one point in the film when she's doing that voiceover while he's playing the guitar and singing his song, you see all those people popping up. I will admit, right, the Funkadelic rock star guy when he popped up at first,
I
I was
loved
like,
it.
I was like,
So then
can
Remick
anyone
saying,
see him? Can anyone else see him at all? Right, but then
So-
when that was further expanded upon as it got on, right, and I got to see all these different generations, not only black people, but they also had like the traditional Chinese ballet dancer,
Mhm.
right,
right, for the Asian Americans,
the
yeah.
Asian American family, right? I started to understand that, and I realized that with the way that it was blocked, right, you had all of these people interacting, but none of them are physically there in the scene with these people from different parts of
Because
the
But
time.
then Gerardo's explanation saying, "I want to see my ancestors," that
But-
doesn't
but-
make sense
but-
because how does he
that's-
know that he can
That's
see
the
them?
thing. That's
because
the thing.
Remick isn't human.
He's not human. He's not a normal dude. He has glowing red eyes and he flies. He's
Right. So
definitely-
Remick can see these people.
Yeah,
I
he
would
can see-
imagine so.
He's
So,
aware.
That's
right? Because
stupid.
even-
That's dumb.
If he can hear,
I feel
this
like
spiritual
we're
call- okay.
we're-
We're not gonna sit down and be like, "Oh, this is dumb."
Sure,
in a
sure,
fucking
sure.
vampire movie. Relax.
We are.
I feel like we're I feel like you're
You
looking
are,
I feel like
and
we're
you're
looking
wrong.
into it a little too deep.
Yeah, we're getting to
Because
okay, fine.
the way here's my interpretation, and I feel like this is like the general consensus right now. Yes, Gerardo's right. The intro scene where it literally explains there's people who are, you know, in different cultures who can do certain things. They play music, their voice can reach to the beyond and talk to spirits and talk to across the other plane and all that stuff.
The
And
ancestors,
it goes and lists each type of, you know, like the name of whatever person. And this movie is leans heavily into hoodoo and, you know, African
and
spirituality.
ancestry and all that.
Hoodoo.
Who? Do?
It's a real thing.
We're not avid
Okay, I know.
fellow.
So,
Who's on
it's-
first?
it's
Who's
like-
on first?
It's like whenever he start playing the guitar, we start seeing the rock star, and we've seen the masquerade from the epic people, and seeing all this stuff going on. Obviously,
Right.
they can't see that; they're just around there, intermixed within our main setting. And then, of course, I mean, yeah, Remick is the devil or whatever he is, the spawn of Satan. I want to see his backstory. That would be kind of cool. See how he became Remick, the vampire. But it goes back to the story, the beginning of the story. He's able to hear these type of beings, these souls. That's probably what he's been doing, going across the country.
Mm-hmm.
He'll find, for example, he's running from the Native Americans. They probably had one person in their tribe who was singing and chanting, and the guy's Remick's like, yeah, I fucks with that. I'm gonna pull up on that.
That's a good point, Matt, because I'm thinking about that scene with I basically called them the Native American Van Helsing Society because they were
They were
badass.
hard as fuck.
I
That dude
no
came
idea
out the
what
car
it
with
is,
the
but I
fucking swagged out.
where he
Or a
just
farmer.
he doesn't even apologize. He's like, "May God have mercy on your soul, deuces," and then
And he
leaves.
said it in a
Like,
language she can't understand. Get
yeah,
good,
and
bitch.
he's like,
Learn.
oh God, he's like these crackers don't deserve me.
Learn Choctaw, bitch.
But But basically, I
Doing-
kind of got the indication with how Annie knew a little bit more of that, right? Even though she's raised in like America itself, right? She still has
Mhm.
tons of her spiritual ancestry, but she's more so within like the modern world, or at least as modern as this film gets when it comes to like her spiritual senses. So she can't physically perceive that. Maybe, but the Native Americans who have kept their culture consistently, right, even up until this modern, or I guess colloquial time, right, that we're in set in during this film, right, since they're more tapped into that spiritual plane, I got the sense that they had more knowledge of the things and they would have probably been able to see those spirits. But that was just my thoughts. But I thought that scene was pretty good. I will say it did baffle me a little bit, and I did chuckle when I saw the dudes crip walking. That made me laugh just a little back of my
Made
head.
me laugh at a joy.
It did. I thought it was beautiful because the whole movie has like this underlying theme of how music connects people, right? How it's able to voice your struggles, your pain, your sorrows, but also your joy.
Not only
joy of
not
certain
only
things.
that, but also about how black artists and black artistry
Exactly.
oftentimes gets what's it called? White people
Appropriated.
appropriated
Appropriated.
and co-opted, exactly.
Because
and I think
the
Right.
first
Remix
thing that came to my
line-
mind
Remix
was
Here we
Elvis
go with
fucking
this woke
Presley.
shit, bro.
but Remix line, I want your stories, I want that, is pretty
Mhm.
heavy-handed,
Pretty,
you know, in what
But it's
what he's trying-
effective.
Yeah,
It's
sure.
effective.
And then the other problem I had with it, and then we can start glazing the movie, or you guys can list what you guys didn't like
I
about it.
got a problem.
Is I wish there would have been more vampire shit. I liked it. I liked Ryan Coogler's design of the vampires. I liked how they looked. I liked how the action and stuff, and then killing. I just wish there was a little bit more vampire stuff, maybe a little bit more Remick, like before finding the juke joint, a little bit more of the vampires, a lot more of the action, a lot more of them fighting the vampires. Like when that shit hit, I was like, "This is incredible!" And then it was like 5 minutes, and I was like, "No, no."
I kind of see that, but I also
but
feel like the movie showed just enough of them, because the thing is with horror, right? You show any creature or any monster too much, it just becomes like overdone, right?
It's
Like,
also,
you
it's
have,
also an action movie.
It is an action movie. It is an action movie, right? But I feel like the scariness of the vampires would have been a little bit lost if we were overexposed to them, or at least for me personally. I feel like that's how it would have gone for me. I think it showed just the right amount. Now, should that vampire sequence at the end have been longer? I do agree with that. I do agree with that part being longer. But prior exposure to vampires, outside of just Ramick when he goes to that clan couple's house, I think that was a pretty good. I think that was just suitable enough. And the whole time, right before you see them and they're setting up the juke joint, right, and you know that the vampires exist and that there's 2 new ones in addition to Ramick just walking around. The whole time, I felt that nail-biting tension of when are they going to show up? When is shit going to go down? Because I'm actually scared. I liked that. It felt like it was building suspense and intrigue, at least through my.
I don't know.
About it.
I'm kind of on the fence about the whole. So see, the thing with Sinners, I feel like the focus was on the black people and the black community in this film. Yes, the vampires are a point in the movie, and yes, they're coming to fuck shit up. However, the focus was mostly on Smoke and Stack and their individual relationships with the other characters in the film.
Right.
Sammy growing into his own as a man and learning independence, seeing that his potential as a blues artist is being hindered by, for lack of a better term, dated beliefs now.
Conformity,
You can't tell someone, oh, your gifts are a sin, when this dude is mad talented. Let him express himself, and there's another message in there, but I won't get too deep into that because that's a long talk.
Right,
but for the
right,
vampire
right.
part, I do agree that we should have seen more vampire activity, but I also wish that they had toned it down, that had dialed the notch down and like made it, how to word this, incremental. Because that jump scare at the beginning of the movie, I'm like, all right, cool. Now we know. Like, if you didn't watch a single trailer and you watch it's like, oh shit, what is that? Oh my god, don't give too much too early. Kind of just tease us a little bit. What did Stack say? The cool's got a button. You just gotta lick it like you want to taste it, but you don't want it to go away. That's what they need to do, bro. Just do a little bit at a time, and then once you get to the climax of the actual
no pun intended.
Pun very intended. once you get to the point of like, okay, cool, now we need to start showing, hey, these are our villains.
Mhm.
Do it in a way that's like, oh my god, this is actually, I feel some terror. Because after a while, I was like, I know there's vampires in this. I'm not too worried. Did I get a little bit of a here and there? Yeah, but I feel like that could have been. It could have been done. It could be done up. It could
Okay,
have been dialed
fair.
up.
Fair.
Also, also for what's the word? Not lack of a better term.
Strike. A nitpick.
Another nitpick. The vampires being white is very significant. Why not, play into that more? Yes, the Klan exists in this world, or in this film. Obviously, it's 1930s United States. Klan exists
because I think
Ryan
Coogler is trying to make a distinction between for example, Remick and the Klan's members. For example, I mean, Remick very vividly says, I know what they've done to y'all. They did the same thing to me, to the Irish. I'm Irish. I know exactly what oppression is and what colonialism is. They did the exact same thing to us. But with me, I'm trying to build something where it doesn't matter the color of your skin. It doesn't matter what makes us different. We're all the same. We're all one, and we can come together. And I'm trying to offer you that. He comes from a place of like loneliness and trying to build community. And so I think that would have been a different movie, right? If Ryan Coogler had made the vampires white and was trying to say something about how they're evil or whatever, but I think having Remick say that and being like, I'm offering you guys community, like we can start anew and we can build a place where everyone is accepted, where we don't have to go through what they're putting you through and what they put my people through. I think I think that's very significant and very purposeful, and there's a reason why he added Klans members who are evil who are also like other parts
let me rephrase maybe what I mean by
hold on. Say that again.
Them
you kept cutting off.
Being white and trying to find acceptance into a community that's obviously not there. Like, how do I word this? There's a thought in my head. I don't know how to put it into like good verbiage, but they're coming in like, oh, we want to build this community. We want. And then he goes to things like, I want to take your stories. I want to take your songs. I want to take your talents. There's a message in that somewhere, These folks who pose as I'm an ally. Look at me, I fucks with y'all. I'm for your cause. I hear you and I see you. Let me post this black square on Instagram.
Only until it's beneficial.
To turn around, exactly. I feel like that part, I get that, but I'm also like, man, he made the vampires this way for a reason,
But also this movie is a lot of moving. I mean, Ryan's got a lot of ideas, and a lot of them work. Some of them don't work. A lot of them hit. A lot of them don't hit. So it's like that's the problem when you have a movie that's this chock full of ideas and themes and genre, and he's playing with multiple different things, and that's exciting and it's encouraging. But it's just a lot. You're getting thrown a lot of things. You pick up on a line. You're like, I like that. I like that. That doesn't work. But that just happens. He took a swing. And he went for it, and I think for the most part it works, and that's part of the kind of the.
I think also
the greatness about this movie, and then kind of also had a negative thing after you.
If you also, I don't know if I'm reading into this too much, but this is kind of my interpretation of making the vampires kind of like a mixed group of people, right? And a lot of them primarily were the black sharecroppers of the town, right? I think a big part of what made that really kind of stick with me is using that as a metaphor to be like, yes, you as a black man in society or a black person in society can ally yourself with your own people, but sometimes there's even people within your own community that might buy into this whole idea of freedom, this idea that there's a better
Terry Crews, if you will,
and might be working against you and your own self-interest, right?
Coons.
Exactly for lack of a better word, coons. There's a lot of vampiric coons, but that's the thing.
You see a lot
of the black vampires, right? They try, especially like at one.
But none
point,
of them became vampires because they wanted to.
Right. But when they became vampires, right, when they were introduced to this lifestyle of this perpetual freedom that they've sought out so long, right? When they were freed from their bonds, metaphorically speaking, right? Those people, once they were inducted into that life, no one sets out as a black person or a minority in society and says, I want to buy into the system. I want to be a part of the system. I want to be in the system, and I want to just be another cog in the machine. right? Until they get in there, they get comfortable, they get complacent, and what do they start doing? They start getting people in their own communities and talking down to them and being like, you could join us, you could get with us, we're free over here, we're a part of the solution, when in reality they're just putting you in another set of shackles, right? And I found that to be kind of like a through line with using the minority vampires. That's kind of how I interpreted it, and I thought that was pretty good, like a Venus flytrap or a chameleon kind of.
Again, lots of ideas.
Lots of ideas. But my one real true negative is just that ending. That ending was, I was expecting like a fucking Stax will return. Like I did not like
Stax will return in Avengers Endgame.
Your Marvel brain is showing, bro.
Yeah, at the end.
What was your negative?
Yeah.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
The accents are incredibly very inconsistent.
Yeah.
They're all from the same town. Nobody fucking sounds the same. And most of them are not good. They're not good.
No, that's very true.
But that's really the only gripe I have with this movie.
Did Chinese Americans have black accents like that in the 1930s? Is that real? Like, is that
that is true? Yeah, they were.
Aquafina is the blueprint.
Yeah,
it happens.
This is unfortunate, but Aquafina was essentially doing like a 1930s black.
So what you talking about?
Yeah, it was like a weird hodgepodge of like Cajun and also like Boondocks kind of old school Southern accents, and it felt like these people, like, I guess for Annie it worked really well, I guess, because she had kind of like a little Cajun twang and she was more into like the hoodoo and voodoo side, so I think with her accent was pretty consistent. The family,
Michael B. Jordan's accent.
Michael B. Jordan's
accent was so bad.
Michael B. Jordan's accent.
I see no ghost.
I wait
no demons. Just pow. I was like,
it reminded me of how he says Naruto. How he's like Naruto. I'm like, fuck you.
Nah, we cousins.
No, we cousins. Yeah. It slips. It's not like, purposefully like fucking Channing Tatum Gambit. It's not that. It's not like that. But it's noticeable in some scenes where you're like,
yeah.
Do you have subtitles, bro? Because I don't know what the fuck you just said.
I feel like his accent as Smoke was better than his accent as Stack.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Who the fuck is Smoke and which one's Stack?
Smoke is the one that's married to Annie. Smoke is Annie, and then
Smoke
Stack is the
shooter.
vampire.
And Stack is the freaky ass nigga.
It's almost like somebody else was supposed to play Stack.
Yeah.
Free my goat.
No.
I love him, but that boy dug his own grave.
All
right, now we can talk about the
Trevante Rhodes is supposed to
Jonathan motherfucking May. Anyways, let's talk about the good things that we liked about this movie, and then we can give it a rating.
It is beautifully shot. Actually, not even shot. Let's fuck the shots. The score, the music of this film will be in my Spotify. Ludwig Göransson is to film scores. What is his name? What is his goddamn name? He's the guy that everybody thought was black, but is actually a white guy.
Hans Zimmer.
He made like Open Your Eyes and also Do for Love. What the fuck is his name? I cannot remember.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Michael Bublé.
No, it's not Michael Bublé. He sucks. But basically, it's Ludwig Göransson is a big collaborator with Ryan Coogler. He's worked on a number of films, but he's also worked with our boy Graham. He's worked with him on the score for Black Panther, right, which was very much
both times
Bible, but also futuristic electronic influence to it that was very fun and compelling to listen to. And this movie does a blend of like 3 generations of black music, of old school tribal music, blues, and hip hop in a way that I did not think would sound good.
Well, and everything in between, a lot of rock and some kind of like jazz,
classical. There's some funk in there. There's some old classical right there. There's even some like little bebop music right there. There's just really, really good blends of genres that only have the through line of being black created musical genres, and yet blend together so seamlessly through Göransson's score that I'm just wowed by it.
No, but I like to piggyback on what you had said earlier. His cinematographer is a woman named Autumn Durald Arkapaw, And I think, man, she was in her fucking bag. Every shot in this film, I think, is incredible. I think it's and that's a good thing. And he's talked about it. He's talked about how important it was to surround himself around such an incredible team of people. And I think that's such a smart thing for him to do, because like he's like, all right, I'll hire the best people to do, and I'll trust them to do their job, and I'll just focus on my part of it. And it's like, it's so good, and it pays dividends, because it was just so wonderfully acted. I think besides the accents, for the most part, the acting, I think, is really good. We've talked as a notorious Michael B. Jordan hater, I will have to walk back everything I've said. Now, it's one performance. He's still got a lot to prove to me. He's got a lot to prove to me. But I think
Did I see Creed?
But I think I saw Creed. But I think he surprised me a lot. I didn't think he could do it. I didn't know he had this in him. And there was just something that really clicked. It was in that moment. It was in watching this movie in the theater that I was like, damn, he's him.
I get it now.
I found
I
it.
get it. Exactly. But
The guy I was thinking of earlier was Bobby Caldwell, by the way.
Bobby
Caldwell, a man who I thought was black until like he died.
Is he not?
No, he's white. He's very white, but he's the most soulful black man. See, look, there it is. Freudian slip again.
Oh my god.
He's the most soulful white man I've ever heard grace a microphone. Legitimately, he's incredible.
Remick for real.
Perhaps.
Nah, man, I agree about the whole cinematography. Before y'all all jumped on, Luis and I were talking for like a brief second about what this film can get nominated for in the Oscars. And I feel like every single department in this movie worked their ass off. No one was slacking.
Oh, yeah.
No one was like, everyone brought their A game, acting phenomenal, directing phenomenal, every shot, cinematography was beautiful. There's some beautiful scenes in this movie all throughout. And like, I felt myself getting so much more immersed, especially with the IMAX, dude. Oh my God. If you have not seen this film, or if you've already seen this film in standard definition, fuck that. Go watch it in IMAX right now. Right now. If you can watch it in 70 millimeter, do it. But if you don't have that what's it called?
Luxury.
That privilege, that luxury, then just watching the other IMAX with the laser, bro. That shit was crazy beautiful. There's a part where the scene, you can tell where it goes from the
aspect ratio
the
changes.
aspect ratio changes, and it's just so beautiful. And you
It does it a couple times.
It does it
It's
a
incredible.
lot of times. There's a shot of smoke exactly. He's talking about the end. He's like, "That's the last time I saw my brother, and I saw the sun." And like, it just shoots to that. And I'm like, this is what movies is about, bro. This is what makes me this is what made me fall in love with cinema and film and acting and all that. Because you watch a movie like fucking Craven, and then you see something like beautiful as this. If you, bro, we should stone them niggas who made Craven right now. Why?
Shout out
Sinners
to Michael.
is bar none one of the best put together films. It's too good, and I cannot understand how. Like,
I was gonna say,
moving
shout
forward,
out to Ryan Coogler.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think
he Ryan, bro.
This man has been working for Marvel before he worked for Marvel, because he has been assembling the Avengers for filmmaking for the longest fucking time. This man assembled. I also one major thing I got to give props to. The costuming in this movie is fantastic. It doesn't seem too over the top, like a weird hyper realistic 1920s to 30s, right?
It's Ruth Carter, bro. Oscar winner Ruth motherfucking Carter.
She made the costumes for Black Panther. She's gonna cook. She had to. I feel like she could go blind tomorrow, God forbid, and still make amazing costumes. And that would destroy any other costuming department, because this still frame that we have on screen right now does not do justice how authentic some of the clothes are, because they're not just like old school 1920s and 30s outfits. There's wear and tear. There's different types of stitching, different types of fabric that kind of tell a story, right? Like the Smokestack brothers, their suits are more tailored. They're more fine-tuned than everybody else in town. They're prim, they're proper. It shows that big city lifestyle that they have, when really on the inside, there's still these small town country boys. Meanwhile, everybody else who grows up as sharecroppers, they have somewhat formal wear, but it's like worn down, it's tattered. We see like even on Preacher Boy, right? He even has like patchworks on his vest
from different times. He's had to restitch it because they can't just afford to go out and buy new clothes. They don't have that
They're
luxury
poor.
of sharecroppers, right? They don't. Yeah, they're poor. They don't have that economic status that white people would have around this time. So I feel like that was really good, playing into the authenticity of the era. That was really
just so well made, dude. So well made. Just before we move on, shout out Ryan Coogler. A lot of people we've had this discussion. Had this discussion with David, and he said, "Is Ryan Coogler up there with Denis Villeneuve and Christopher Nolan?" You know,
Not
and
yet.
I think, and again,
I'd say yes.
I think not yet. I think he's made two Marvel movies: Fruitvale Station, Creed, and then Sinners. And I think Sinners, has put him on the right trajectory. I need to see a couple more great original films from him before we can put him in the same caliber as Denis and Christopher. But I think he's well on his way. He's probably the best director under 40. He's probably the best young up-and-coming director, the most successful one, who's got the most juice, and will get the most blank checks moving forward. And I'm really excited.
What about Sean Levy?
Anyways,
here's why
let's rate this movie real quick.
I'm gonna disagree with y'all on that part real quick. I think he's already proven himself enough.
I think so too. I think
Both Black Panthers are mid.
Here's my reasoning. Here's my reasoning. Fuck you. Wrong.
You're fucking cheap.
No, I'm black and I'm proud.
All right, go.
Here's my
Go
reasoning.
rewatch that bitch on the phone.
That's fine. There's nothing wrong. No one's saying that.
Here's my reasoning. Why should a black man have to keep proving himself over and over before he's put in the same ranks as dudes who had multiple opportunities?
Well, because those are two
two
of the best filmmakers.
And that's fine.
Ever.
But they have
Why?
Look what I said. They have access. They have more opportunities than a black man would have in Hollywood.
Ryan Coogler.
It's known that black folks are not going to get the same amount of opportunities as their white counterparts. Christopher Nolan has been doing this shit for years. And mind you, Christopher Nolan did mentor Ryan Coogler, so I have no
Christopher Nolan is mid. Let's be real. But he's not on the same level as Denis. Shut the fuck up. No.
Yeah, I would not with good faith.
I think y'all are being unfair.
There,
I think y'all are being unfair
because the last Nolan movie I saw was Tenet.
You're being too biased, if anything.
No. If I were to be as blunt as possible, I would say in terms of black directors, I cannot think of one currently that is better.
John Singleton.
Oh, Barry Jenkins, maybe.
Give me a John Singleton movie because I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Dog, all of them. Well, no, I can't think of one either.
Exactly my fucking point.
I think Spike Lee. If we're talking about black directors, Spike Lee is above. Everything that he's made is better than anything that Ryan Coogler has made.
That is true. I cannot objectively, but within the scope of creating not just blockbusters, right, but also having the range to do original ideas and also these smaller character-based stories like Fruitvale Station, right? In terms of being able to have that broad of a range and still be so relatively early within your directing career, Ryan Coogler is running laps around a lot of directors.
He's doing great.
I say
we have to admit that he is, or not admit, but like he's so young. He's just starting.
This is true.
Yes,
but if this is where he just starts,
he's on a great track, but he's not there yet.
If Ryan makes
that isn't us admonishing him and saying he's ass. He's not.
He's definitely a rookie of the year material for sure. I'll say that.
No, not rookie of the year. He's like MVP candidate. He's top 2 in the MVP voting. Like it's fine, but I'm saying he's so young. You can't count Marvel because Marvel is such a part of this a machine and so part of the system. It's not. I want to see him, his ideas, his thoughts, his kind of artistic sensibility on the big screen, and I want those movies to be great. And I'd be like, yeah, he's him because I see it because I know he can.
Marvel is incredible. Because
I want to see that.
I don't even like Creed personally, but I think it's a great accomplishment.
Exactly. I want to see more great original movies from Ryan Coogler, and if two of those 3 movies are as great as Sinners is, he's undeniable. He's him. You get what I'm saying? So it's like, but I think
overall, I think we're on the consensus that Ryan Coogler is definitely a director to watch. Much like this movie is something to watch.
To watch. I mean, he's an incredible. He's one of the best filmmakers working.
No, I mean like a director that people should keep an eye on. Like people should track him, because if you have been prior to this film, definitely go with that, and also definitely watch this movie, because I give this shit a positive 8 out of 10, because that ending pissed me off quite a bit. I did not like it. It was stupid and it was dumb, and I laughed.
Agreed. I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. I think I'm gonna go
8.5.
I think it's a great film, incredible, such a great time at the movies. Again, not perfect. Had a couple of things but overall, incredible experience, and it was just beautifully and wonderfully made.
Yeah, I'd say 9 stars. Literally only 2 flaws that I can think of. Great movie, incredible experience, especially in the theater. Hearing people laugh on your second on your rewatch, hearing people laugh at stuff that you're like, I wonder if they're gonna catch it, and they do. That's great. I'm like, yeah, okay, he cooked.
I give it might be the highest rating, 9.5. The 0.5, the 0.5 that I took off was for the accents. Could have been a little bit better. That's the same critique I had for Black Panther. The accents could have been better.
Yeah.
So that's whatever. If you need me to consult, anyways.
Hire this man.
But no, otherwise, like, this was a well put together movie. I'm glad I had time to watch it multiple times. I'm gonna watch it again and again, and I'm gonna be the first one to order this shit on Blu-ray, DVD, injected in my veins. Number one Sinners propagandist, number one Coogler propagandist. That's me. Everyone's saying we need a sequel, we need a new universe from this movie. No, please.
No, the one and done this, for the love of God.
Yes. The only thing that would be acceptable would be either a prequel for Remick or a prequel for the twins, but anything past that, y'all are doing too much. We do not need to extend this into MCU territory. This is such a good film that can stand on its own legs without becoming a big IP franchise. Let's just enjoy it for what it is right now and tune in when the next Coogler project drop. That's all I gotta say. Yeah. No other remarks. Speaking of the sins of the father and the sins of the son and sins of others, let's unpack this moment of silence for my boy. Let's remove our hats and bow our heads.
My hats, I'll just put it right here.
Oh, man. What the hell, dude? I knew it was coming.
I don't feel good about that. I gotta take my glasses off for this.
Sick to my stomach, fam. So sick to my stomach, fam. So, as you know, season 2 of The Last of Us. No, I knew it was coming. I wasn't expecting it like this, bro. That shit was hard to watch.
Also, it hurts more than it does in the game. It hurts way more than it does in the game.
Because we love Pedro, bro. We love Pedro here. Like, seeing her fucking that bitch Abby, I'm coming for you. Caitlin Deaver, we love you, but Abby, fuck you.
Before we get into the big of this episode, I want to say that this episode really shines in what Luis was saying last week about the premiere, where they're really going harder on the zombie stuff because they've already established the universe, the characters, and everything, and now they can just full on go balls to the walls with the cordyceps infected. And that scene where Abby tumbles down the hill and that cuddle puddle starts moving, and then it's like 50 of them underneath the snow, and then they're all crowding on the fence. I have played the game, and I was still just like, oh no, she gonna die. She gonna die. Oh my God. No, this bitch is no. Oh my God. That was genuinely horrifying. They have made the infected. They have done the best thing compared to like things like World War Z or like Zombieland, right? They've made the zombies in this very well exposed to you, damn near overexposed, but it's still very effective because it's dropped in these little bite-sized pieces that don't take away from the narrative, that don't distract. It doesn't feel like a pair of jingling keys to keep your attention, right? It feels genuinely like nail biting, and whenever like more than 3 infected are in an area, you're just shitting a brick. and it is beautiful. The bloater, by the way, oh my god, I forgot
Insane.
about that chunky bastard.
Insane,
The
bro.
bloater and
The big
the
back.
bloaters and the bloaters and the clickers are so well done in this show. So like special effects and props in the makeup department, because parts of the bloater are a practical suit, and that fire stunt is fucking amazing that they do with where Tommy has the flamethrower. But the main thing I'm excited to see is in the game, there is this giant, like molded, amalgamated mass of infected that looks like if a bloater and
The
a
Rat
squid
King.
had the Rat King. Oh my god, that thing is so gross. It's the worst thing I've ever seen, and I'm so excited to see it. But yeah, I'm loving this show so far. I'm loving it.
I was gonna say, I don't know if you had mentioned this, but have y'all mentioned the adaptation or the adaptive changes at all?
I do like the adaptive changes 1000% more, because having Abby's story at the front and going back and forth in an actual like chronological order is much better than the game, which was like, hey, this bitch just murdered your dad, but she's sad sometimes. Like, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not playing this fucking game with you, dude. I don't give a shit how many trans children she raises. I want her dead.
No, I agree. I think the reason I mention that is because I've heard, I've seen a lot of discourse on the internet about how the adaptive changes are a problem and people aren't happy with them. They're really angry with Abby's casting, and they're still complaining about Ellie's casting. And I just want to say, with all due disrespect, shut the fuck up.
Please.
If you want to play the original story, you should go play the game. That story's still there. That story's untarnished, unchanged. If that's a story that you love and you fell in love with, go play that. The story is a different story based on the original source material. It's not going to be this exact same.
Shut up,
You can't. When you're playing a video game, you're playing from the character's perspective, from the character's point of view. When you're telling a story on television, you have to make changes because you don't have the you can't make characters feel empathetic or empathize with a character by playing with them. You're gonna have to tell that narratively, right? By giving some backstory and doing some exposition. So it's just gonna be different. And I know people are bitching about Tommy not being there when Joel died. I know people are bitching about the attack on Jackson. It's like, dude, pick and choose your battles. We were complaining about there not being enough action, not enough infected in the first season. Now we're getting that, and there has to be a reason to do so. Tommy has to have. Joel's death is going to hit Tommy even harder because he wasn't there. Because he's going to feel like
just that.
Because he's going to feel like if he were, this would not have happened. He would have been able to stop it, and he couldn't, and he did it. And so, just let the fucking show breathe. Let the Craig Mazin tell the story he wants to tell. I trust him. Let this season be over and let the changes that he made work for the story that he's trying to tell before we start bitching about shit.
I feel like that also adds to, there's an air of whether if it's implied or it's explicitly stated, there's some sort of survivor's guilt in this universe. Shit hit the fan in 2003, and there's people who made it. There's people who didn't. There's people who became zombies and fucked around and died later on.
Yeah.
There's people who survived and they're in these little townships. There's a level of survivor's guilt. And I feel this adds to more on Tommy moving forward as a character because, he just brought Joel back to his town. Joel and Ellie have assimilated into Jackson. They're playing a huge part in the town right now. And just lose Joel like that and not be there to save his brother's life, that's just going to hit him like a fucking truck. Of course, he has his obligations to his wife and to the town, but him being this brother to Joel and not being there for that, I want to see how this plays out moving forward. Because I know in the game, Tommy's there whenever Joel dies. It's still. I feel like this is a good decision to make. Having it
also
exactly, and I like the fact that like you said, I like the fact that it's Dina. It makes. I don't know, the fact that they're making Joel and Dina's relationship so much stronger than in the game. I think gives her character much more makes her character more well-rounded,
much more
motivation.
Yeah,
it's not just she's Ellie's girlfriend and she's doing this because of her. No, she had a relationship with Joel. She has a relationship with the people of Jackson. This impacts not just Ellie; it also impacts Dina and Jesse and Tommy and Maria and so it's like. I don't know, man. It's just you guys, it's just so frustrating. If they would have made this show exactly the same as the game, people would have started bitching about how it was uncreative. It's a shot for shot recreation. How there's no talent, there's no risk taking. They don't have the balls for whatever the fuck. People are just mad because they don't want to fuck Bella Ramsey and they think she's unfuckable, as opposed to being for the fucking pedophiles that they are and wanting to fuck Ellie. And it's just weird. And they're fucking losers. This show's great, and you guys can suck my fucking dick. Fuck y'all.
In a nicer way of putting Luis's sentence, I wholeheartedly agree with what Luis has said. The verbiage is a little bit more blunt than I would have said it, but yeah, please go fuck yourself and sit and spin on a fire hydrant until it disappears. Bella Ramsey, if you would somehow see this episode, I want you to know you're a phenomenal actor, right?
Incredible.
The first episode, right, it was about maybe like a year or two after I had seen the first season. So I wasn't entirely sure whether or not I would be convinced, you know, because Bella has like a naturally youthful face as opposed to me, who looks divorced and 36. But I didn't know if they would be able to capture that older Ellie vibe, right? But because they're so fucking talented, such a goddamn cinema chameleon, the way that this second episode immediately eliminated all of my suspicions as to whether or not they could play an older version of Ellie, because I think the weirdest part where it clicked was where they answer the door, is where Ellie answers the door and Jesse at the door, and she like calls him a fucking prick, and she just looks like hungover, and she's like very fucking miserable, and I'm like, dude, I opened my college dorm door like that so many times. I see it. This is an
college.
This is like
I open that shit like that now.
I open that shit like that now. What? Even to this day. To this day, I open my door and I go over and I'm like, what do you fucking want? I don't care. And the way that Ellie bonds with these people, it's not the same way where kid Ellie would, where it would be like this immature, kind of rough around the edges, kind of bratty sort of way.
She still is kind of that, but that's
the kind of that. But there's more mature and stoicism, like a darkness behind it that you would get in your adult life. You know, that kind of light behind her eyes is gone.
But that's what the season is, and that's what this episode signifies. It kind of signifies not only the end of the death of Joel, but the death of her childhood and her innocence. I mean, she's not innocent; she's been living in an apocalypse. But it's kind of like what happens and what can you do when you lose the one person in your life who you would give and who would give anything and everything for you, right? It's kind of like a rebirth for Ellie and her character, and people bitching about how she's too much like she was in season 1 and she's supposed to be more mature, more grounded. It's about growth, a slow, a progressive growth. You can't expect her to change from one day to the next because she hasn't been presented with loss. She's been cushy and comfy and living a life of relative comfort, you know, for the most part, while in Jackson. And so this situation, this episode, this instant, this moment upends her life completely, and it sends her on a completely different trajectory. So it's like you guys have to realize they have to, like, the second game is going to take 2 to 3 seasons to adapt completely, according to Craig Mazin and that Zionist Neil Druckmann. So it's like I have to put that in there because I have to excuse why I'm watching the show. But it's like so her growth and her progression as to like the character that we're going to see in the character we end up seeing in the second game is going to be much more gradual than it is in the game, right? And
I also did not know that it was going to take 2 to 3 seasons to adapt, and I very much I'm very glad that you pointed that out, Luis, because I will say, as good as the game is, it is damn near 46 hours of gameplay,
bro.
And narrative. No,
bro. You're bad at it.
Say your ass, dude.
No,
it took me 20 minutes to play it before this episode.
Just say you don't like collectibles and
colors. It is damn near a slog to get through. I tried to play it in one setting, and I had to go through where it realized
it is not a slog. It's incredible.
It is partially a slog.
It is partially a slog. It is partially a slog.
Playing as Abby's ass. Fuck you.
No,
there are parts where it's like, Abby, we need to go here. We need to lift this thing up. Can you do it? And then
Abby,
you have to walk.
Pretend to form empathy. Thank you.
Thank you, Jesus Christ! Thank you.
But I do think they're doing it better in the show.
Yeah,
will
that's
say
what
that.
I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
That's an issue I had with the
stretching-
game. I think they're doing better.
Because stretching out that narrative and that character development and being able to hit all of those little beats while also balancing the perspective shift from Abby's perspective to Ellie, to Abby, and vice versa, you know, going back and forth, I feel like is going to be much more well translated in this show off rip because they've already done a much better job in the game.
You can't. It's what I was saying earlier. In the game, you're forced to try to empathize with Abby because you don't know anything about her. You don't know anything, right? And people were bitching about that, and now they're telling you straightforward. Here's who she is. This is what she wants and why she wants it. And then she doesn't. People are like, but I like how they did in the game. What the fuck?
No,
what?
You don't like.
No,
No,
you
you didn't. No, you
No
didn't.
one did.
I played the game. You're lying to me.
Yeah. I've
That's
been
it.
on the goddamn Reddit threads. They're lying.
I know exactly, and it's like, no, you didn't. So, and it's like you guys, and it's like, so what the fuck do you want? I was like, this giving her that motivation right off the rip is so much more. It's so much. Me and Gerardo talked. It's so much better than what they make you do in the game because now you know why she's so unrelenting. Why
she needs to do this.
Why she needs to do this, and it makes Joel's death more
of the
impactful.
mind. And I talked to Luis about this. Joel, I don't want to say deserved it, but he earned that.
He made his bed.
He made his bed. Abby was justified in doing what she did.
No,
but
she's a bitch.
No,
Go to therapy.
she was. But because we
Abby,
love Joel,
I'm coming for you.
and because we don't see her goddamn story, we just see her as like this stupid fucking character that we now have to play for half of the game, and that's why people hate this fucking game. It's not that she's unjustified in doing what she does. It's that it's not explained to you until 3/4 of the game, in.
Yeah,
exactly.
And then by then you don't care.
Yes, you're mad as
feel
fuck.
like
You're like, fuck this bitch. I don't give a shit. And in the show, sorry, Matt, I'll let you go. But in the show, if it'll make us if we do spend more time with her, it'll make it that much more bearable because we understand why she did it. We're not happy and we're probably going to be upset. But when the story starts progressing and she starts being seen in a much better light, you're like,
human,
okay, but she's also human, right? And it parallels Ellie's story so much more closely because we have a better understanding of who Abby is as a character, as opposed to feeling like your Abby's story is trying to catch up to where Ellie's is at, and from a character perspective. But sorry, go ahead.
They
Matt.
better fucking not. Sorry.
I was just gonna say all of what you guys said is also. I feel like they looked back at game 1 and game number 2. And they learned from their mistakes in those games and said, let's do this a different direction.
That's
make sure we get this shit right this time because we don't want people to be. And of course, like you guys said, there's going to be people who are like, oh, man, you can't do that. Da, 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 da. But that shit don't
Craig
look
Mazin had to hold Neil Druckmann's hand and said, this is how a fucking narrative works.
But here's the thing.
Motivations.
And here's the thing. This is the important part about when you're adapting a source material. Regardless of how you feel about it, having the person who made that source material on board, because you're like, what did you not like? If you were to do this again, how would you do it? And so Neil Druckmann's like, actually, I think it would be very important if we did this. And like you said, learn from the mistakes of the game, Matt, like you said.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's not like Craig Mazin's like, fuck you guys, fuck the fans. I'm going to do what I want. He was like, Neil, you know the backlash. You've heard what people feel. What should we do moving forward? And then together they kind of shape this story that we know and that we love for a new medium with kind of a different perspective or a different direction. And so I don't know.
Like if you if you take like The Last of Us or like Invincible, right? Things that follow pretty closely to their source material, but they change them ever so slightly to make more tweaks for general audiences for the medium that it's in, right? Those are critically acclaimed for a reason because they learn from their mistakes, right? Because the
characters are jacked in the source material. And why aren't they jacked in the adaptation? That's what I want to know. I was gone for that part of the conversation, but I wanted to touch on it.
But the body type and all that has nothing to do with this. Everyone in the show is acting their asses off. If you take a show like The Boys, which is fundamentally nothing like the comic, fundamentally nothing, because Garth Ennis didn't write his way out of a paper bag.
Way better than the comic.
Way better. A drastic improvement, right? It just goes to show that when you have a set story, right? When you have that original source material and you are adapting a new medium, it is not going to be presented the same way. It is not going to be taken the same way.
And
It
it
should not be
shouldn't.
consumed the same way, because then you have Avatar: The Last Airbender live action, where it's almost the same fucking thing, and Netflix wasted their goddamn money on it. This
But it's
is
easier. It's easier
own
to
thing.
adapt a poor source material and elevate it
exactly
than it is to take source material that's critically acclaimed
Exactly.
and try to make something of equal caliber for a different medium. Because people are like, well, the game is
Right.
already perfect. It's critically acclaimed. Game of the
It's
year,
not.
whatever the fuck. And it's like, well, you know, it's so I don't know. It's
Yeah.
going to be a lot of backlash. But I think people,
it's definitely,
I think people just need to just take it for what it is. It's a TV
Yes.
show. It's not the video game. You love the video game, go
Exactly.
fucking play it and stop bitching about it. Take this for
And
what
go
it
watch-
is.
Go watch the fucking cutscenes. Go watch the Let's Play. Stop being a baby about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Genuinely,
Grow up.
there's no reason why you should think this show is going to be the same, especially after last season where they completely made Bill entirely different.
Exactly.
I will.
Go,
And
go
the
for
game
it.
isn't
Say it.
Frank
No, we're not
already
doing this
dead?
again.
Let your homophobia.
No, I think him being very sad in the game works really well because he's a better foil to Joel. But I do think it was a beautiful story that they told in the show, and I don't hate
Yeah.
And
it.
how Bill's
But,
already dead.
but I love that he is a warning to Joel on what happens if you don't let people in your life in the game,
Mhm.
Yeah.
right? But you know that's neither here
but
nor
it's
there.
but it
But-
serves
but
a
in the
different
show-
purpose.
It's still
In the
a
show,
great-
it's still
It's still yeah.
it's still a
It's
good
a
parallel
different
in the
kind
show.
of
It's a
parallel,
different
yeah.
kind of love, a different kind of
Instead
relationship.
of it being directly presented to Joel, it's directly presented to
It's
us
a
as
different
the
kind of
audience
warning.
as like the parallel.
If anything, it's showing,
I
hey,
feel
this is
like-
what you're missing out on, instead of,
Yeah.
hey,
I
this
feel
is
like-
what you're risking.
I
Mhm.
feel like
I just
without
think it's
the
more fitting
billing,
in a post-apocalypse to be like, this is how you're gonna fuck up.
without the Bill and Frank episode, and without the fucking cult episode where Ellie has to fight her way out of that horrific situation,
Fuck, that's a
we
good
don't
show. That's a
we
good
don't
one.
get the
That's a
relationship
good
that
adaptation.
we're needing for Joel and Ellie, and we don't get the season
Mhm.
finale of him
Mhm.
tearing up that hospital because he'll just be like, he's just gonna see her as cargo the whole time.
Mhm.
Exactly.
The Bill and Frank episode is like the cordyceps in Joel's brain. It plants that hey, I need to be I need to be one with this.
Good
Maybe
Lord.
I do need some community. Maybe all my people are gone. I can't find my brother. Fucking Tess just got blown to shit. Like I'm shit sucks. The world is. My daughter died. Like nigga, I'm going through all types of shit. I need some comfort. I need some friends. I need family. I need familiarity. And that's what
And
Bill
bro-
and Frank gave to Joel. And then moving on through it, the rest of course the other episodes in between. I'll go a step further. Seeing what happened to Sam and Henry also
Oh my
further
God.
enforced that. So having that whole dynamic built through these episodes, and then having the season finale of him going balls to the wall in the hospital, and then immediately taking Joel away in the second episode of this season. God damn.
So
Craig
great.
Mazin,
That's how you build art.
Cook. You just fucked
And I
me
think-
up, bro. I'm gonna cry today.
And look,
Crying right
man,
now.
and I think the episode works. I think that scene
Mhm.
works. I know they
Mhm.
changed it. I know people are bitching about it, but it's like I think.
You said,
and-
just
and-
shut the
and-
fuck up
I
and
said,
do
just
it
shut the
already.
fuck up and do it already.
When he
Incredible.
said that,
and
and
Bella
He
Ramsey.
said,
Shut up, bitch!
Go for it. You said, what did you say?
Soundboard.
What'd you say?
Shut up,
Oh, I can't
bitch.
hear it. I can't hear it. That's funny. But Bella Ramsey, it sells the fuck out of that scene, dude. There,
I
When
cried.
she's crying
I cried,
and holding
dude.
Joel's body, it is the
Oh,
most
sobbing.
heartbreaking thing I have ever
Incredible.
seen.
incredible.
Oh my God.
It's
Where
so
she's
good,
like,
man.
you can tell she's like waiting for him to wake up, but you know he's never going to. And it's just, oh my God.
They're
Oh,
gonna
dude,
cook, man. They're
last-
gonna cook, bro. They're gonna cook, man. I'm
Oh,
sorry,
man.
they're cooking.
I already think that this season is going to be great, and we are
vengeance is
truly
consuming
in
them.
for a great.
I will
A
no
great-
longer let it consume me.
We are truly in for like
Longer.
we are truly in for a great evolution of a character in
Mhm.
this season. And speaking of great character evolutions and new seasons of things,
Wow.
Andor came out.
Okay.
Elite, yes.
Yes.
He's back.
And we're back.
Yes.
We're back. Fuck you, Gerardo.
Space
I've been
Mexico.
excited for
Space
I've been
Mexico, baby.
excited.
Space Mexico,
Space
baby.
Mexico is back.
Space
I have
Mezcal.
waited. Did you notice that they use centimeters as a unit of measurement in the world of Star Wars? And I thought that was odd. I don't know why
No, I
that
didn't.
bugged me.
It's
I
I,
did
space,
not.
bro. It's space.
I was like, damn. So America really just like
America
not
don't
even like the
exist.
only country.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
No, but it's just like
Right.
even in space they use metric. We're so fucking ass backwards.
We're so
We use-
far behind. Yeah.
Bro, you're sounding real unpatriotic right now.
Hey,
I
brother.
think I think Disney Plus dropping the first 3 episodes of Andor right off the bat, I think is the perfect way to have done it. I think if they would have dropped 1 or 2, I think the general consensus would have been much less than favorable. And I think
Right.
Tony Gilroy had told us ahead of time that this show is
Pause.
broken up into 4 different
We're not
3-episode
getting-
chunks.
We're not getting like 6 episodes for this shit, are we?
No, we're getting 12.
Praise
Praise
God. They
God.
heard my.
It's
they
gonna
heard
be-
me.
Mashallah.
They
It's gonna
heard
be.
me.
It's gonna be. He told us ahead of time. It's gonna be 4 3-episode chunks, and in between each 3 episodes, it's
They're
1
called
year.
art.
It's 1 year. So it's like. So it's
love
3.
that.
It's 3. Then we get another 3. Then we get another 3.
Let
I
him
think it's either
direct
9 or 12.
Daredevil.
It's one of them.
Let him direct
but,
season 2 of Daredevil. All of it.
Let him
Don't
write
even
it,
worry about
yeah.
nothing. Let him do that shit.
But I think that's a perfect way to go about it. It gives us a nice little. It gives us an insight into how the season's gonna be paced. It gives us insight into how what characters like just the character progression and how quickly it's gonna happen. But also, like Tony Gilroy, he's operating at a level, bro, that I have not seen. It's so beautiful and it's so infuriating that we're never gonna see another
We
we'll
will.
never see another Star Wars
We will.
project operating at the level in which Tony Gilroy is managing Andor. It's
Genuinely,
It's-
everything is a
it's insane.
tangible, physical
Dude,
set.
Sean
None of this
Levy
volume
is
bullshit.
making his movie right now. What do you mean? We're about to
Shut
surpass him.
That is in connotation is I'm doing a shit because we're both producing a turd.
You said
It doesn't
Sean
matter.
Levy. Sean Levy Star Wars.
dog shit.
No, This-
Ryan
off
Gosling.
off rip, you can tell there's a little bit of a time jump because I don't remember Cassian being in the situation that he is at the beginning of this episode.
Oh yeah.
At the end of last
He's a
season.
real ass dude,
But-
bro.
but he's
No
still-
recap is crazy.
But no recap is great.
Raw.
I actually
Raw
kind of
dog
like it
second
because
season.
you can go into this first season and still kind of get a little bit of an idea of who Cassian and all these other people are. Because
Have become
this first episode, we see Cassian. He's at an Imperial flight school, or a Imperial flight academy or whatever.
Test
like a
facility.
testing facility
Center.
for
Test
new
facility.
TIE
Test
fighters.
facility.
He's at the
Uh,
Imperial
see,
DMV.
And,
He didn't even
and
watch the
this,
same Star Wars.
And there's this I guess she's like a maintenance worker with she thick. But besides that, aside from that,
He's right.
I might need
He's
to.
right. You're not lying.
I let her service my control panel, but that's beside the point.
AZ,
That's beside the point.
AZ still
Anyway,
on his sinner shit. AZ
so-
still on his sinner shit right now.
So-
on this center shit.
But we see Cassian, and he's in disguise at this flight academy, pretending to be a new pilot. Right? He gets handed the flight code key to this new experimental TIE fighter. Right? This is like the iPhone 12 to the iPhone 8 that has been all the past TIE fighters. Right? This is a
Isn't that
brand new.
Vader's? Isn't that Vader's?
That is
like
not.
the prototype for Vader's.
It's kind of like his, but it's not necessarily because his. I forgot what model it is. Graham would know this better than me, but it's more
Is it-
octagonal instead
Is
of
it
like.
within the like the?
It's kind of in that branch. It's
It's
kind
like
of
the
in that branch. 'cause
iPhone
it's still,
6 Invaders.
Yeah,
It's like
it's
the
still-
iPhone 15.
yeah, because this is
Mhm.
still 4 BBYs, 4 years before the Battle of Yavin,
You
which
said
is the
4
Death
BBL.
Yavin.
Yavin,
Four-
Yarvin.
Yavin.
Yavin 4.
I thought you
But,
said 4 BBL. I was about to say.
But
boy,
Cassian is disguised as this pilot, and he's flown ships before. He's a smuggler, and he's like a very competent person, right?
Mhm.
But seeing him get in that TIE fighter and like push it forward and then
Confusion.
realizing that it's inverted controls, he proceeds to slam around the entire hangar.
But see, but that's one example of Tony Gilroy playing with our expectations and subverting our expectations, right?
Yup.
Because you're like, in this world, Star Wars, everyone knows how to
Everybody
fly
knows how
everything.
to fly. some
Everyone knows
shit.
how to fly everything. And seeing our protagonist, our main hero, who we spent a movie and a whole season with, and we know, like you said, how competent a person he is, struggling to do so and getting out by the skin of his teeth. You're just like, wow. It just adds this level of realism and groundedness that you're just like, yeah, dude, every day, every mission you go on, you're risking your life and you're getting out by the skin of your teeth because you're unprepared, no matter how prepared you are. Every day, every mission, you're just kind of winging it. And that was incredible. And there's another point, and there's another part in episode 3. I know some of you guys haven't seen it. So do you mind if I spoil it?
I'll forget.
I'm
by
gonna
the time
watch it
I
after
wake
this
up.
anyway. I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay. There's this part where Brassos he got caught. Oh, is that his name, Brassos? his friend
Porco.
with the beard.
Porco.
No, his friend with the beard.
Oh,
That's
the
on
big
the-
dude. Big.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
No.
Brazos, right?
I think
I
I
don't
think
know.
that's his name. Anyways, he gets captured by basically space ice, and he's trying to escape. And we see them
the
shooting at him.
space
We see the-
IDF.
Yeah. We see them shooting at him, and he's like dodging. He's getting away on his speeder, and then there's a shot of a stormtrooper, and it zooms in, and he shoots, and then that's it. It cuts to something else, and we assume, stormtroopers, they're bad shots. He made it out alive, and at the end, when Cassian comes in and saves them, he didn't make it. He died, and so it's like
R.I.P.
it's like Tony
Brax
Gill,
so-
and it's like he's so smart, and him and his writing team
Playing
are
on
so
the
adept at these
conventions
things.
of Star
They're
Wars.
playing on
Yeah,
the conventions of Star Wars, exactly, and it takes
I like
such a masterful, like, just understanding of craft to be able to do that, right? And for someone who hates Star Wars, to have his finger on the pulse and be like, "This is what you motherfuckers are expecting," and I'm going to give you the exact opposite. Is just it's just testament to why the show is so incredible.
Now explain
way-
why Mon Mothma isn't dog
The-
shit.
we'll get into that in a second because I have thoughts on that as well. But
Leave my queen
I
alone.
think-
Leave my queen alone.
I think one of the
Shout out
best
all
things
Chandlerlings.
about this show, compared
Big
to like
Chandler stand-up.
you got all the Star Wars movies, right? including the new ones like episodes 7, 8, 9, right? You
No.
have Mandalorian, you have all these other Star Wars properties that show you the Empire or the First Order or whatever the fuck, and you're just like disposable grunts in white suits. I have no reason to be afraid of these people. I could throw a rock and I could kill a stormtrooper. Andor has done something that I never thought I would have as a feeling, which is genuine dread whenever I see like any Imperial presence.
It makes the Empire competent
it
Shows
scary.
them as what they truly were,
Remember
which is
the level of
exactly.
incredibly organized, fascistic, horrible,
Regime.
oppressive regime. Yes, horrible.
Yeah. You get to. I was talking about this earlier in a Discord with some people, and
Of course, it was this one.
this kind of made me think about it a lot because he put it in a basically like realistic terms of when you remove Jedi or like Mandalorians who are basically fucking shinobi and samurai, right? These compensate you just a regular, in his words, if you are a regular nigga and not laser sword Jesus, this is the most terrifying thing you will ever encounter in your life. And I really do really feel that with Andor, because it's not like you have 30 to 45 minutes of blaster fire and like nobody gets hit and they all fly away happy ever after, right? That first season, when people get hit by a blaster, they die, and they die in the most horrible, agonizing death phase. They just drop.
They show it as what it really is.
It,
It's a bolt of supercharged plasma bursting through your fucking chest. It's not a good way to go.
It is the worst.
I feel like the Star Wars is like. I feel like Star Wars is too sanitized with like the lightsabers and the blasters before.
It's baby
because like
Baby
Qui-Gon got stabbed through the chest, and you're like, oh my god, bro. Like, can you make this shit more scary? Like, I'm like, bro, if I chop my arm off, cool. That shit sucks. I'm gonna get a robot arm. Niggas is getting dismembered. People getting blown the fuck up. And you mean to tell me that y'all just chill with this shit? You just
when
chill?
he used the artillery rounds from that TIE fighter to blast that fucking shock trooper, I know that guy had just this face behind his stormtrooper mask. He was like,
but that's what happens when you story a Star Wars story on the human characters, on the characters that aren't super powered, right? At the end of the day, it's people trying to survive, like you said, Gerardo, a fascistic, oppressive regime. And episode 3 did this other great thing in it, where Bix almost gets assaulted by one of the Empire lieutenants, by the Imperial officers, and that was so. But listen, but that was so jarring. That was so jarring and terrifying, and so powerful and so impactful. But it really worked, and it was such a strong message because it was like Tony Gilroy was like, yes, guys, they are an empire, and what do empires do? They rape, pillage, and murder. And he set that up so beautiful. I mean, and they're like, in case you haven't noticed, this is what they do. And that conversation they're having in episode 2 about what's that planet?
Galdor.
Gorman.
Yes.
Gorman.
So if you know the lore, you know about the Gorman massacre, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that the Empire's like, we're the Empire, but we're not yet the evil motherfuckers that you have expected to see in the original trilogy. They're working to it, and the fact that they're talking about stating what's it called, manufacturing.
They're discussing
a genocide.
They're like, how do we make
the
this
Ministry of Propaganda?
palatable?
Yeah, there was a point
They're
where
literally
they
doing what the
were
Nazis
when they were talking about the silk harvesting, they're like, it will effectively destabilize the core of the planet if we industrialize this. And they're like, wow. And one of the guys in the council is like, 800,000 Gormans. That's a lot of innocent people. And it's like relocation would be necessary. And it's like necessary.
Exactly.
I want to say necessary. Like, we don't have to tell them.
Crazy.
But this is why Tony's such a fucking genius, man, because all that is exposition. But if you're going to do it, that's the way to do it. And not only is it driving the plot forward, it's leading into they're like, he's like, you know, the Empire guys, remember, they're evil, and we're setting it up. This is how they're doing
their casual callousness. It's showing how fucking horrible they are.
Mm-hmm.
And
It also
to the assholes that make the TikTok Empire edits, I hope you all burn in hell and get shot in the fucking head. Fuck y'all.
That's crazy. Making
They're
Empire
horrible.
TikTok edits is insane.
Yeah, why are you willingly
seen them, bro. They're
glazing?
bad.
Why are you willingly glazing fascism, bro?
as somebody
What's wrong with
who up
The
until
motherfuckers who voted
watching,
for our president.
as somebody up
Not
until
my
watching this show,
That's not my president. I don't know that nigga, bro.
every time I used to every time I would play Battlefront, I would always pick the Empire. But after watching this show, I felt
But they have the best weapons, though. To be
they have the best weapons, but I'm like, ooh, I'm a space Nazi. I don't feel good about this.
Yeah, but the death
We
trooper.
just went on this whole rant.
So good.
Oh man,
That's
We
good.
just went on this
Look,
whole
look,
rant talking about
if-
fuck
look,
fascism. We're like, but you
if
know,
fascists-
they got cool guns.
But they got cool shit.
Look. All I'm saying, even though they are space fascists,
they clean with it.
they got
They clean with it.
They
They
nice
got
with
that
it.
shit on.
They
They got that
Hey, they
Hugo
got
Boss.
that
That
shit
Hugo
on.
Boss shit.
Exactly, bro.
They drive a
Nazis around here
Volkswagen.
wearing Gucci. I hate them, but goddamn,
I
they
will
had
say
that shit on.
one more good thing I really like about this show, and then I'll talk about something I did not like about the first
few
3
flaws.
episodes.
Tiny
A few
flaws.
tiny flaws. Diego Luna, my fucking king, bro. He didn't get a lot of screen time these first 3 episodes, but when he does,
Not enough.
he is so, I don't know, man. He's so incredible. I really can't. I don't know. He's incredible in everything he does, but there's just something about whenever there's something about when he's on screen and he's not talking a lot and he's just kind of in his shit. He's locked the fuck in. He's incredible,
He's listening
man.
to everything, and he's taking it all in, and he's pitching in when he needs to, and you see his growth as a fucking
leader, as a leader,
but not only leader, he's a spy.
Yeah.
He's there to fuck shit up.
But he's
And
also at
doing
his
it at
heart
every
like
step.
a survivor. Like he will do whatever the fuck it takes to get himself out of that situation. Like for instance, when he's escaping those rebels, which by the way, this show does an excellent job of showing how like the rebellion is not organized until Skywalker because they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They are just like taking.
I would
hate
say
that.
excellent.
I hate that.
I hate that aspect.
don't
I
agree
hated
with
that aspect of this.
It
the
does-
first 3
it
episodes
does-
too.
It does.
I don't
does.
think it's a bad aspect. I think it's not done very well.
Yes,
I
I
think-
like
yeah,
the
it's not
idea.
fully
I like
fleshed
what he's
out
trying
yet.
to say.
Yeah,
I
it's
like
not,
what
it's
he's
not fully
trying to
fleshed
say.
out yet. I'll say that at least. I think we'll probably get more of it, and I'll feel less sour on it than I will with the next 3 chunks of episodes. But with this first one, when he's escaping the group of rebels who end up turning on each other when that giant animal fucking
It's like
right? And he goes on the ship and he sees that guy standing there, and before that guy even can pull a gun on him, he Han Solos the shit out of him, just shoots him dead in the spot. Doesn't even fucking bat an eye, just jolts him. Basically,
Mind you,
And-
they're on the same team essentially. They're on the same
it's
side.
like watching Twitter leftists fight over fucking
Pronouns.
pronouns or something stupid.
Right.
There's bigger problems.
It's like my brother in Christ, you are the same.
It's like you
are
accidentally
the same.
it's like you accidentally misgendering somebody, not because you're bad, but just because you don't know this person, and then you get crucified for it. It's like That's a bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying.
It would be like if
I'm
during
a
the
leftist,
Super
guys.
Bowl,
I swear.
It would be like if
promise.
during the Super Bowl, Kansas City said, "We're not going to play them. We're just going to beat the shit out of Travis Kelce for no reason." That's what it feels like watching the Rebels.
That was the weakest part of this episode of this chunk for me. Was that whole whenever Cassian gets stuck on that planet and you have that rebel faction which is split and infighting. That didn't work for me. And I think and I found this out after the fact. The two main actors who play the warring like rebel leaders, one of them is his son and the other one is his niece's husband. So Nepo Baby's like a motherfucker, but I think they're not great actors, and it really kind of took me out of those scenes. And I was just like, I would much rather be spending time with Deidre or Bix or even Cassian doing literally anything else except for these two goofy ass motherfuckers who I was like, this is dumb and it's stupid. I get what Tony's trying to say, and he's like, even in rebellions, they're not well organized. There's a lot of infighting. It's a miracle that anything gets done, considering the lack of resources and the lack of kind of direction. And so I get what he's trying to say, but I'm glad we're over that hump because it was my least favorite. Well, it did not land. No, but I got what you're saying.
I also like the what is it called? There was a point in this series of episodes where I was watching it and I was like, oh, that's nice. I didn't know that was a thing that we could do. I cannot. Oh no, it wasn't like an I don't know. It was the reappearance of one of my favorite boys. His name starts with an L. It's like Ludwig or something. What the fuck is his name?
Luthen.
My dog.
Nah, bro, that
nigga, bro. I love him so much.
Season 1, bro.
Luis's enemy.
Why my enemy? My enemy?
You don't like him.
Bro.
I like Luthen.
I thought you didn't like his voice or something. You don't like Stellan Skarsgård.
Oh, did I say that in the first season? I didn't like his accent. It's weird.
Yeah.
I didn't like his accent. It's weird.
It's weird at first, but when he
comes, space, bro.
Where's Cassian?
When he shows
is
up
it
to
better
that gathering,
is it better than Christopher Walken?
What do I sacrifice? Everything.
Oh, everything's better than Christopher Walken.
When he shows up to that gathering Mon Mothma's having, I honestly could not tell what the fuck was going on.
It's a lot.
Because I was
he was
dragged.
The space costume.
It is dragged. It is dragged.
It works so good though because it shows you like it's like Mon Mothma is like the leader of the rebellion. She's financially backing and all this stuff, but it kind of shows you like when you're rich and powerful and even under fascistic leadership.
That's what you're hearing?
It's like that even when you're rich and powerful and even under a fascistic regime, it's like, does that really even affect you? Right? It's like what is your motivation?
Still going out of your way.
And what's that character's name? Tay, the one who's her friend, who the white haired guy, the rich
one who's in love with her.
Yeah, who's like, I'm running out of money. This is kind of like that whole idea of you're an ally until it stops benefiting you. I think it's such a. I mean, we talked about it in Sinners too, but I think what Tony it works a lot better for in Andor because Tony's like he's saying, "Hey, I'm losing money. I'm going to start talking to that rich motherfucker, and if something happens, well, I'm kind of drunk, can't make any promises." And so I really like what that storyline is representative. I know people found it boring. I think it's really working.
It could have been in one episode. The whole thing could have happened.
Yeah. Also,
I think that's the problem. I don't think it's badly done. I think it's cool. Oh, we get to see Chandrillans. Who gives a fuck? But
for sure.
That is time that we could be spending with Cassian. We could be spending it with Bix. We could be spending it with Big Hoss that I just found out fucking dies because I didn't get to finish the episode. Like, dude, come on. Like, I think there's more. Yeah, I think there's more. Not important stuff, but stuff that we
more engaging, more interesting.
When watch episode 3 and when it ends and where that Mon Mothma story goes, you'll be like, got it.
It'll
see why.
I promise you,
it'll pay off.
It could have been 2 episodes.
Knowing Gerardo, he's gonna like it, but he's still gonna be like, it should have been 2 episodes.
No, I get it, but it'll make sense, especially how it wraps up.
I know it will, because Tony Gilroy is not a fucking.
Tony Gilroy doesn't disappoint when it comes to Star Wars.
He's not an amateur. He's got it.
I think just in general, from what we're hearing.
Speaking of the amateur,
please no.
God, no. But
the born autism.
I really
Born on the
do-
spectrum.
Born on
I
the
really do
spectrum.
think that with Star Wars, anytime that
Great
Andor
film.
drops, I'm always having the mentality that Star Wars is back. Star Wars is back. This, that, and the third. And I wish other franchises could have that capability, but possibly due to rumblings we've heard on the streets, there may be a resurgence for Marvel. Is Marvel back? Thunderbolts reviews have come in lately, and they're all amazing. I don't understand what's going on right now, but I'm happy. I think.
Oh, we're fucking back, baby.
I didn't
My
realize we were
agenda
talking about
is
Thunderbolts.
succeeding.
I didn't
My
realize we're talking about Thunderbolts.
Thunder
I have
agenda.
been on the Thunderbolts fucking the hype train since it got announced. I told y'all it would be good. I said Sentry's involved.
I think we hopped on it. I think we hopped on it pretty early. No, we were like, "This is gonna be
I
good."
hopped on it.
We
the
said
early
I
years.
we
was-
said
I
it's
was
gonna be
50-50
the
on it
best of the
until-
movies this year. The best
Until
of
I
the
saw
Marvel
the
movies this year.
until I saw the trailer, which was actually color graded and shot like a movie instead of a PlayStation commercial, like
I
the
saw
past
a
fucking
trailer.
MCU
set
films
to
have been.
fucking OPR by Gestapo Stans or whatever the fuck they're called. I said, I'm in. I'm in.
But after,
Alright.
also, especially after seeing that Void clip where he's just like wiping people out of existence. Oh my god, yeah, I'm sold. I'm so very
the
sold.
thing that
dude.
sold me, besides like the
thing.
obvious, like the cast being fucking elite, whenever Lewis Pullman does his little his bit as the Void, like that little line delivery in the trailer, I said, oh my god, he's in another movie, dude. He's in a whole nother movie. He's gonna cook like either he's gonna cook mad crazy, or I'm just gonna look stupid as hell when come opening night. And
No,
he's
he's
wrong.
gonna cook. He's
But
gonna cook mad
I'm
crazy.
gonna err on the
That's
side that he's
Lewis
cooking
Pullman,
mad
bro.
crazy. He's too fucking good.
He
Dude said,
comes from good stock.
you
He
said,
does come
"Why
from
would
good stock. R.I.P. R.I.P. Bill.
why would a god take orders from anyone?" I was like,
So good, bro. He's
Which is
bro,
hilarious.
please.
Look,
Man,
let's
please.
preface this conversation by saying that we understand that early reviews oftentimes over exaggerate or the quality of a film, or
Sinners.
especially something
Yeah.
like especially something like a Marvel movie. But
Shut up, bitch!
I think we're at the point in the MCU where there's no need for that, right? It's like people have been about Brave New World. People were
People were very, very,
very
vocal.
negative,
Very negative.
very vocal about how
Mhm.
not good.
Otherwise,
that
a
movie was.
pretty mediocre film.
Yeah, exactly. So
And
I think it's, and I've heard nothing but good things. David has also heard nothing but good things, and he has a lot of
Plug.
connections to the
Industry
industry, and he knows
Backstage
a lot of
Joel.
people. Yeah,
Shout out
shout out back
Backstage
to
Joel.
Joel. So it's like
big ups
I
backstage. Big backstage.
don't know, bro. They're saying not only is it the best movie since Endgame, it's also one of the funniest in the
Mhm.
entire MCU canon, and so.
Agreed.
And so a movie that can balance the two, that can balance action and storytelling and then comedy, which is what the MCU does best, I think that's about as good. That's
Best.
as good as we can ask for.
He's right behind me, isn't he?
Well,
Tom
that
Hanks'
just
finest.
happened. Stark, you're gonna want to see this.
How was that he said, hang on,
It's just
guys, I'm
like
bringing
that
the
old
party
movie,
to you.
Mr. Stark.
How was that a party? Girl,
Like,
shut the
bro.
fuck up and shoot that gun.
is
They're
that
doing-
Tony Stark? I hate you 3000.
Yes,
Stark-
man.
Mr. Stark, I thought you were dead.
I hate you
I hate you
3000 P.
3000.
I hate you 3000 P.
Anyways, we're hyped for the Thunderbolts. It's gonna fuck. I'm so excited to hear good things
can't
coming out of
wait.
those early.
I can't wait to see Taskmaster get ripped in half.
I
Dog's
know it's going to
fucking
happen.
character.
Century style,
Rip
just
her in half,
fucking
dog.
yeah.
She's the only one that wasn't at the premiere.
The first
The only
thing-
one that
Because
she
The
didn't have a
actress.
chair.
Wow.
She didn't have a chair.
Bro, within like the first 20 minutes, mark it. First 20
Nah,
minutes,
not
yeah,
20.
doing some
It's
shit.
No,
This should be like a
Or it's gonna happen midway
through the
movie?
Yeah.
Okay,
that
so mark
scene
it.
where they're-
Midway through the
that-
movie,
no.
Sentry Bob's gonna be running around in his little hospital
No,
outfit.
because
He's
they
gonna
can't
flip the switch.
realistically fight the Sentry for more than half of the movie.
not
Yeah.
even half of the movie for like 2 minutes of the movie.
The third act is gonna be the
Because
fighting Sentry.
the
and
moment
that's
the
gonna be
moment you
key.
see the Sentry wipe away that cafe window full of people, is when you're gonna be like, there is no
Brother.
shot that six with guns and one intangible bitch is going to be able to do
I'm
anything.
very curious how they play this. What's the end game?
I'm telling you,
What do they end up doing?
he's
how do
gonna,
they
he's
end
gonna
up
be
beating
running
Sentry?
around in
No.
his,
No.
little, in his little hospital costume.
legitimately
He's gonna
the
in
way
his little hospital, the little psych ward scrubs. Then he's gonna switch to the void, and then Taskmaster's gonna be the first one to go attack, and Taskmaster's gonna get ripped in half, and they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, what do we
legitimately the only way that you can beat the void is to negotiate. You have to literally Naruto talk no jutsu this man. There is no other way that you can appeal to him because he's almost immune to psychic powers and everything else. You chuck a gun at him.
I can take him.
You can Matt probably can give him 2 shots
Not
of
in the
Casa
fight.
in 5
Exactly.
minutes. Probably.
Me and the void locked in. Casamigos, brother.
But legitimately, it is an incredible threat to the goddamn near multiverse if that thing escapes. The void
and the streets are also saying that the end credit scene is one of the best they've had in years. Which is insane. Most of them have been dog shit, but
they've not been much.
Are you forgetting about the Council of Kangs? It's got to come back, dude.
It's the void wiping out the entire Council of Kings.
Oh, fuck.
Oh my god, that would be crazy.
And Matt, what was that tweet you said about someone saying bring tissues, but not because you're gonna cry?
Yeah, some horny motherfucker, bro.
Florence Pugh naked?
Dude said bring tissues because you're not gonna cry. I said, boy, what?
Again?
Y'all freak.
She was naked in Oppenheimer.
What are we gonna do?
That boy ain't watch Oppenheimer.
I'm about to go watch Oppenheimer. But
oh my god.
No,
Oppenheimer.
I'm kidding. Text me the time code. But I'm kidding. So
no, you have to watch the whole
minutes.
I am legitimately very excited for this movie, and I think this is going to be the most competently made MCU project we get. What would you guys rate this in terms of hype? I think I'm at a 9. I think I'm at a 9. I'm at a 10.
Hype?
Actually,
hype. 10.
Hype. I'm like a 9. Fantastic Four is a 10. This is a 9.
Fantastic Four is a 12 for me.
Especially
after seeing
that trailer, bro.
So the stretch effect doesn't look
10,
like dog shit
Fantastic
for Fantastic Four as well. I don't give them that because
it looks pretty good to me.
Action. It looks pretty damn good.
Where are his light powers?
As long as it's better,
yeah.
As long as it's better than the CW's bullshit of what's it called, Plastic Man?
Not hard.
Or Elongated Man. It was Elongated Man.
Elongated. Thank you.
Yeah.
It was some bullshit. Whack.
The Disney Channel Wizards of Waverly Play CGI is better than fucking Flash. Don't ever mention that bullshit to me again.
Legitimately, I think we are in for probably the second greatest show that will ever be seen. The first, of course, being this episode you just watched of the Cinestro. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you from the bottom of our hearts to the lowness of our balls because
from the bottom of my ass,
they have gone to heel length. From the bottom of our assholes. 1000%. Thank you so much for watching. We had a lot to talk about, so this episode's runtime's already gone a while, but we're gonna get through.
This is approaching our longest episode territory.
But
that's not true. We've had 2-hour-long episodes.
This
what
is
are we talking
That's
about?
true. That's true.
Why are we getting distracted? Let's finish this fucking out.
But enough distractions. Right? We got to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to the boys, of course, on this lovely podcast crew, but shout out especially to the boys at Backstage OL. If you like what we do and you want to see a much more competent version of it, not done by 4 drunken jackasses on a Wednesday night, I'm not yet, brother. But if you want to see in-depth backgrounds on filmmaking or interviews with different directors and filmmakers and actors,
Gerardo's the Delta Slim of the group.
Incredible.
What is he goes. Oh,
you want to get?
He sips the German beer. He's
Irish.
The Irish. He sips. He's he buzzed in his man. He said, "I got the blues. I got the blues."
If you want amazing cinema news minus whatever this tangent has just been, follow Backstage OL for
Delta Blues
behind the
or
scenes look
Delta Slim impression
throughout all the industry and throughout Hollywood. You can get a lot of them. Follow him on all platforms at Backstage OL because David is our liaison and he gives us a lot of good information. So you should check them out. Also, speaking of checking things out, I will eventually get back to making videos whenever I feel like.
No, we won't.
So probably. I don't know if it's okay. I redecorated my room. It's been a time-consuming week. Okay, but follow me at youtube.com/TariSingo and Twitter at TariSingo. and my Instagram at Big Papa Atari. I don't post there really, but you can go ahead and do that, I guess.
Me either.
But I make comic book content. I stream occasionally as well. I'm probably going to be streaming Marvel Rivals pretty soon because I have recently been sweeping and got my platinum rank back. So yeah, I don't shower.
As Iron Fist, he's a bitch.
Yeah, get some real kills.
I'm not gonna like I'm in the game. I played Iron Fist.
Fuck that guy.
Pick a character that takes skill, bitch.
Speaking of bitches, follow our bitch asses at all platforms at Cinestro Corp without the S. We are legally not allowed to have the S. There is no S. If you find the S, it's like only on our
we
YouTube
can't call
channel.
ourselves the Thunderbolts.
Exactly. It is only on our YouTube channel you will find that S. If you find it anywhere else, legally we cannot acknowledge that as us. But follow us. We have a lot of exciting things we're doing. We have a big summer of cinema. We got Fantastic Four, Superman, Thunderbolts, just big movies.
Mission Impossible.
And Mission Impossible.
Eddington.
And I don't know what the fuck that was, but yeah, that
Bring her back.
The Last Ride.
Other things are happening.
F1, baby. Joseph Kaczynski, follow me, bro, please.
Okay.
Thank you for watching.
But thank you so much for watching. Hit that like, subscribe, share us with your friends, enemies, lovers, wife, husband, mistresses, whoever you got in your life. Share them. We really appreciate you guys. Listen to us on all audio platforms, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.